Having trouble getting your 3-blade fixed this sharp? I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to show you a better way than the 2-blade at one time method. I can remember sitting at the table with Roger Rothar at the Mississippi Bowhunters Jamboree years ago, probably 40 years ago, and he showed me the snuffer that he had made, and I thought that's an outstanding head. That's what I've been looking for. And he also showed me and others that were sitting at the table how he sharpened it. And when he got up to take a break, all the bow hunters there, with a lot more experience than me at the time, I probably only had about 20 kills under my belt at the time, they said they'd never shoot a deer with a head that dull. And I agreed, and he used the two blade at one time method, and it just wasn't producing a sharp enough head. So I guess the other bow hunters just stuck with shooting the muzzies or whatever they were shooting at the time. But I knew this was a great head. I said, I'm gonna bring it home and I'm gonna find a way to sharpen it better than Roger was sharpening it himself. And I did, and I'm gonna show you what I discovered and how I do it. It's really simple. It's not a problem at all. What I do is the first thing I do is create a new bevel, and I do that. I put it in the vise. I put the point pointing back towards me, and normally I use start off with 10 or 12 inch bastard file. All I got today is this little triangle file. It would be a lot slower doing it with this from the start. You got to remove a pretty good bit of metal, and kind of zoom in on this in a minute. What you do is you lay the file down inside the 2 blades, and you got it oriented almost in the direction that the broadhead is, a little askew to one side, and you're dropping down inside, and the file is almost touching the ferrule. In fact, sometimes it will brush the ferrule on some of these bigger ferrule broadheads. If you're shooting a VPA or something, I think they have a little bit maybe smaller ferrule. But normally the corner of the file will be making a mark on the blade opposite of what I'm sharpening, where it's welded to the ferrule, just above the ferrule, about halfway from the ferrule to the outside corner of the back part of the blade. And that's just kind of a reference to keep me lined up. If I hit that spot every time, I'll be real consistent. Like I said, if I'd had a 12-inch bastard file, this wouldn't take very long to create this new bevel. And what you're going to see as you're creating it, you'll start seeing the bevel you're creating working its way out toward the edge of the blade. And you just want to keep going and keep going until the bevel that you're creating moves all the way out to the edge of the blade, and at that point you'll start feeling a burr, and it's probably going to be a little even. You maybe have a burr down toward the tip, not toward the back to begin with, and then you just want to quit working the tip and start working just the area where you don't have a burr, and you keep working it until you get a burr. Then you go to the other blade. You don't even have to change its position in the vise. You move to the other side and repeat and do the same thing. It probably takes, to create this new bevel, it probably takes a good maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes per side. Once you get those 2 created, you'll flip it, and you'll do the other 2, and then flip it again and do the other 2, and the whole thing will have a new bevel. What you're going to see with this new bevel is it's going to be wider, a lot more edge to the blade as far as what you're going to see. You're going to see this will be real narrow on the new ones, and when you create your new bevel, the shiny part where you've sharpened is going to be a lot wider, and to go all the way from the edge. And you're just creating what you're doing when you sharpen 3 blades at a time. You really got a 60-degree angle for a blade, which is extremely coarse. It never can really be sharpened as good as, say, a 40-degree, and that's what you'll be creating when you create your new bevel. Now once you get your bevel created, then you're going to work it on a smoother surface. And you know, everybody's got a different method that they do. It just goes really to back to whatever your preference is. Some people like diamond stones, they're real good. But at the time Roger was there, he was using a black hard Arkansas stone, and he was doing the 2-blade at one time method. But I went ahead and got a black hard Arkansas stone. I've had it for probably 40 years. And rather than do 2 blades at one time on it, once again, I lay it over the edge, and I'm doing 1 blade at a time. Picture this. Instead of coming here and doing 2 blades at one time, I get over the edge, I drop one of the blades down, so I'm keeping around a 20-degree angle. Now you don't want to get below your bevel you created. You'll never get it sharp. You may want to pick it up. Say if you create a 20-degree bevel, when you do your fine edge sharpening, you want to pick it up to maybe 22, and you want to be sure you're working that edge. And like I said, you're going to create a burr with a file. When you start working with this smooth stone, you'll start seeing little flakes of that burr on this black stone right here. Or you may see them, whatever you use, you'll start seeing little flakes of metal coming off. When you get that burr to come off with a smooth stone, at that point your head's going to be sharp enough to kill with. Now you may want to strop it on leather after that. Same thing. You can drop it over the edge of the leather and pull it down the side. If you use sandpaper, you get the corner of a countertop, put the sandpaper right up next to the corner. I don't think I got that on video. If I had sandpaper laying on this right here, I'd drop the edge, 1 blade over the edge, and just stroke backwards. And another thing I hadn't mentioned, you know, y'all probably know, if you know me, I'm high on creating your micro grooves in the right direction. It just cuts better that way. There's no sense in not doing it. Cuts better. And by sharpening, by pushing forward, you're going to create the micro grooves that's going to bite as the head goes in. Same way with a file. When you file in your initial bevel, go from tip to back at an angle, and those micro grooves are going to be they're going to be in a direction that grabs and cuts. And that's about all there is to it, really. It's not that problematic. You're not going to be doing 2 blades at one time, so it's going to take a little longer. Going to do individual blades, and when you get to the point where you maybe using leather or fine automotive sandpaper is what I like. I like the edge that gives. You can just lay it on there and strop backwards. Then you're still going to make the micro grooves go toward the tip, you know. So that's about all I have. I guarantee you, if you adopt this method, create about a 20-degree bevel versus the 30 or that you get when you do 3 blades at one time. That 20 is a lot keener. And I know the arguments, well, a 30-degree is a lot more durable, but when you get to thinking about it, you're only going through a small amount of hide, ribs, flesh. I mean, a very small amount compared to, say, when you're skinning a deer. When you're skinning a deer, I take a knife and I'll cut probably 40 inches of hide during skinning, and I don't have to constantly resharpen that thing. It stays sharp. It's got a good edge all the way through. And anyway, that's about all I have. It's pretty simple. It's easy. It's better. It's by far better. Now this right here is the most important thing that you'll do in archery, is sharpening your broadheads and picking the right broadhead. So get out there, get those VPA sharp, or VAP, whatever they're called, and get that 1.5 inch, 300 grain. I guarantee you that's going to help you put more deer on the ground. Find you some of these old 1.5 inch snuffers. Get these big fixed blade, 3 blades, razor sharp, and you're going to be good to go for most any hit that you're going to make on a deer. And it's going to make recovery easier, and penetration's going to be unmatched to anything you've ever seen before. These long fixed blade heads are really, really deadly. And well, that's all I got. I'm gonna do another video soon with remeasuring all my spurs. I was King of Spurs champion this year, and I measured them to the best of my ability, but there's a little spur measuring tool now, and I think it gives you a little more, and I'm gonna measure all my spurs and see what I come up with.